Wang Ling, the epitome of ordinary. If ordinary included the occasional SS-rank godlike powers, a squad of questionable friends, and a perplexing cluelessness around girls. From birth, Wang's been wrapped in an aura so potent even his dad felt the need to slap a seal on him for the sake of humanity. Now, with his godly potential on lockdown, Wang's just trying to navigate high school without accidentally summoning his secret treasure Mahoraga to end everything, like someone else we know. In the year 4386, a time of great scientific cultivation, Huaxu reveled in the peace and prosperity brought about by cultivation technology. But, just when everyone thought life couldn't get any worse, the sky decided to throw a tantrum, turning itself red, and out of nowhere, a colossal frog looking quite similar to my ex descended from the sky, wreaking havoc with its laser beams. The royal guards, armed with their tactical bombardment skills, unleashed a barrage that even the Demon King would envy, but this frog just shrugged it off like a bad joke. Meanwhile, in the midst of this chaos, our MC named Wang Ling was casually just picking up a few groceries for himself. News of the giant frog city-crushing escapade blared through every screen. But this guy, being built different, was more focused on his snacks. While munching away, a royal guard spotted him and desperately tried to warn him about the impending danger. The boy, however, was too engrossed in his snacks to notice. The guard leaped in heroically, saving the lad from becoming froggy roadkill. Bewildered, the boy dropped his snacks, and the guard, after securing his moment of heroism, returned to the epic battle. Enter Zhui, the legendary frog-slaying hero of Huaxu, who became a household name for defeating the colossal amphibian. Statues were erected, and tales of his bravery echoed through generations. So basically, he's like Mr. Whatever this guy name is from the show from Dragon Ball Z. Somehow in every single fight he manages to take credit. Fast forward to the new school year at Faction 60. Our once snack-loving lad has blossomed into a fine young man. But, as fate would have it, he encounters a bald senior with questionable intentions like my uncle. This senior, with a knack for head-patting and dubious generosity, decides to make a business proposition. Suddenly, a golden beam of magic shoots through the air, sending the bullies flying. Enter Sun Rong, the savior of freshmen and the legendary daughter of the Flower Fruit Water Curtain group. She effortlessly shuts down the bullies, leaving our protagonist in awe of this unexpected display of magic. And so begins the next chapter of our hero's journey in the world of cultivation. The bald senior, trying to save face, mustered the courage to invite Sun Rong down, but her mere descent made the bullies scamper off like startled cats. Sun Rong, with grace and kindness, introduced herself to the freshman, extending a hand for a friendly shake. However, the lad, unfazed and perhaps a bit eccentric, handed her a 10-currency note, thanked her for the protection, and casually walked away, leaving everyone in stunned silence. As the academic year kicked off, freshmen were faced with a pivotal test to determine their class placement. Guided by the holographic presence of the legendary Zhui, they learned about the mysterious test of spiritual force. The target, none other than the Demon King that invaded the human world a decade ago, the giant evil frog, sealed beneath the campus. The freshmen's task: hit the frog with all their might. Chen Kao, the brave soul who stood against the bullying seniors, and his friends entered the elite class, while others struggled to make an impact. Enter Sun Rong for her turn at the spiritual force test. Little did the students know, the evil frog absorbed a bit of spiritual force from each freshman every year, gradually gaining strength. The frog grinned, thinking it was in for an easy time, until Wang, aiming to keep a low profile, unexpectedly entered the room. The evil frog, haunted by memories of Wang defeating it years ago, felt a chill down its spine. Wang, pretending to struggle, delivered a blow that shocked everyone. The evil frog, playing possum, transformed into a spiritual spirit, acknowledging the force beyond billions within Wang. The next day, summoning class began, and the main instructor, Pam, introduced herself as a summoning instructor. She explained the basics and revealed that the strength of the summoned spiritual body is linked to the summoner's force level. After the lesson, students practiced summoning, with Sun Rong summoning a skeletal dog and Wang showcasing his true prowess by summoning the giant evil frog. Instructor Pan, intrigued, couldn't help but observe Wang as he left the class, sensing there was more to him than met the eye. Wang's entry into the world was anything but ordinary, with the newborn astonishing the nurse by crawling out of the delivery room unassisted. His father, Mr. Wang, was rendered unconscious on the spot as he witnessed his infant son casually stroll out, scratching his newborn butt. Despite Mr. Wang's attempts to shower him with expensive toys, Wang showed little interest, burdened by the trials that came with being the chosen one and his ability to hear the thoughts of those around him. Facing an early philosophical dilemma, Wang's father insisted he take up the sword, subjecting him to relentless pressure. However, wielding any sword posed a risk due to the overwhelming spiritual force at Wang's fingertips. Contemplating at a rapid rate, Wang found a unique solution, a strategic burst of urine that shifted his parents' focus from sword wielding to diaper changing, inadvertently saving their marriage. This peculiar incident taught Wang his first life philosophy, keeping a low profile. 10 years ago in Shanghai, at the tender age of 6, Wang failed to contain his force, leaving his parents bewildered. Recognizing the need for a low-profile life, the Wang couple, for the first time, reached a unanimous decision to uphold this principle. Mr. Wang scoured the web for ways to contain spiritual forces, successfully implementing a solution before Wang started primary school. Their aspiration was for Wang to lead an ordinary life, and for 10 years, he respected their wishes. As Wang entered the campus, he aimed for a low-key existence, steering clear of Sun Rong's election campaign. However, the temptation of discounted dry noodles led him to cast his vote in exchange for his favorite flavor. Sun Rong's seductive campaign tactics, rooted in the ancient art passed down from Little Wise Guy, affected the entire class, except for Wang, who neutralized the spell with a golden pill from his mother. When Guo Hao inquired about breaking the spell, the instructor explained that a person of strong will and spiritual force could resist it. Sun Rong, undeterred, attempted to cast the spell on Wang, who responded in sign language, praising the flavor of the dry noodles. Unbeknownst to Sun Rong, the golden pill she consumed to reduce her spiritual force inadvertently broke the seduction spell on all freshmen. The weakened Sun Rong collapsed during a demonstration, and Wang's unintentional sign language communication left her pondering about him into the night. In the pill refining class, excitement brewed as students prepared their furnaces for the task at hand. Chen Kao, envisioning impressing Sun Rong, proudly brought forth a copper cauldron passed down from his great-grandfather, who used it for refining level 9 golden pills. Meanwhile, the atmosphere took an unexpected turn when a black limousine rolled up to the school entrance, and a red carpet unfurled, signaling Sun Rong's grand entrance. Wang, nonchalant and minding his own business, found himself unexpectedly greeted by Sun Rong. However, his keen perception noticed the lingering spell over her head, indicating he had inadvertently seduced her at some point. With a swift decision, Wang approached Sun Rong and gently touched her hair, shocking everyone present. In a surprising twist, he broke the seduction spell, leaving Sun Rong blushing and bewildered. Instructor Pan took charge, teaching the students the basics of crafting vitality pills. The pace quickened, with ingredients mixed at a speed that left everyone struggling to keep up. Guo Hao showcased his calm chopping skills, while Sun Rong utilized a refining machine from her father's factory, and Wang, ever resourceful, opted for a microwave for pill baking. Guo Hao, on the other hand, proudly displayed an antique furnace. However, the calm atmosphere was shattered when Chen Kao's cauldron exploded, prompting him to leave the class in distress, fearing his father's wrath for damaging a family heirloom. The students set an alarm for the next 7 hours, the required time for the golden pills to cook, and ventured outside to occupy themselves. As time passed, an unexpected visitor entered the scene. The evil frog, eyeing Guo Hao's furnace with a hunger that hinted at its longing for a spiritual pet meal. The evil frog, having evolved into a demon king by consuming weaker beings, was about to devour the furnace when Wang, sensing trouble, entered the class. Wang followed the frog as it leaped out of the classroom, leaving behind the chaos of the pill refining class. Meanwhile, Chen Kao continued running laps, reflecting on how he had begged his father for the copper cauldron. Wang Ling successfully saved Guo Hao's furnace and began the process of washing it. Emerging from the washroom, he found Guo Hao glaring at him. Quick on his feet, Wang attempted to explain, but Guo Hao, armed with a water gun, had other plans. Pointing the water gun at Wang, Guo Hao commanded him to place down his treasure furnace and step away. Meanwhile, the Mind Devil infiltrated Chen Kao's thoughts during his weakest moment, fueling hatred towards Wang due to Sun Rong's apparent attraction to him. Just as tensions escalated, Guo Hao unleashed a purple potion from his water gun, aiming for Wang, which if this was another anime it'll be called a hollow purple, but you know. Anyways, Wang skillfully dodged the attack, but unfortunately, the potion landed in Chen Kao's mouth as he was about to confront Wang. Concerned for Chen Kao's well-being, Wang attempted to offer assistance, but Guo Hao intervened. He ordered Wang to help carry the ailing Chen Kao to the refining class, where his body had turned an alarming shade of purple. The pentatoxic potion, initially intended for external use, now posed a grave threat since Chen Kao had ingested it. If the toxins weren't removed within 4 hours, Chen Kao's life would be in jeopardy. Guo Hao, realizing the severity of the situation, struck a deal with Wang. If Wang assisted him, Gua Hao would refrain from blaming him for taking the furnace. Gua Hao provided Wang with the necessary ingredients for the antidote, and together they prepared 2 pills. As they anxiously waited for the antidote to take effect, panic set in. Gua Hao, realizing time was of the essence, employed a magical seal to prevent the evil green dog from devouring the furnace. To their surprise, the green dog's spiritual force had turned the furnace orange, revealing its ability to manipulate timelines. Utilizing the green dog's unique power, Gua Hao and Wang accelerated the heating process. The first dose of the antidote proved successful when administered to the green dog. With optimism, they fed another dose to Chen Kao. Meanwhile, Wang asked Gua Hao to stall the teacher and other students from entering the class. Instructor Pan, upon entering, chose to examine Gua Hao's furnace first. Initially hesitant, Gua Hao's respect for Wang deepened when Instructor Pan retrieved a golden pill, believing that Wang had swapped it with Gua Hao's weakened version. Unbeknownst to Gua Hao, Wang had not interfered, and the green dog inadvertently assisted in the successful baking of the golden pill with the antidote. In the end, Wang also managed to repair Chen Kao's copper cauldron, bringing resolution to the chaotic situation. The day after class, an intriguing scent of hormones lingered in the air as Sun Rong approached her unsuspecting prey. However, fate had other plans as 2 assassins set their sights on Sun Rong, positioning themselves atop the school academy building for the perfect vantage point. Unbeknownst to Sun Rong, she, too, became a target in this unpredictable twist of destiny. Sun Rong boldly asked Wang for a date the next day, stunning the entire class with her direct approach. Ouch, even a loser guy that doesn't even talk and mind his own business even manages to get a girl. How does that make you feel about your lonely life? Anyways, Wang, caught off guard, struggled to find a suitable response. Little did Sun Rong know that while she had Wang in her sights, she had also become the target of unknown assailants. The main force behind the assassins gave the order to take the shot. But just as they pulled the trigger, Wang sensed their presence. An overwhelming pressure from him caused the attackers to hesitate. Sun Rong, frustrated, continued pressing Wang to agree to the date. The unexpected interruption came when the plump instructor entered the class, summoning Wang to follow him. Wang seized the opportunity to escape and followed the instructor, leaving the confused assassins without their target. The green dog, from another building, had witnessed the entire scene. As Wang escaped with Instructor Wang Zukeng, he had no idea that this incident would transform into a love story, gaining attention on Faction 60's official website. Wang, now famous as the Force 5 value guy, was escorted to the office of Joint Honorary Master Immortal Jui. Jui, recognizing Wang Ling's true identity as the little boy who defeated the Demon King, expressed his determination to make Wang his master. In a surprising turn of events, Wang cast the trick of forgetting on Jui, erasing the memory of their encounter, and left the office. The Demon King appeared before Wang, informing him of the impending danger from the assassins. The following day, when Wang woke up, he found a black limousine outside his home, and a girl waiting at his door for a date. Despite the conflicting emotions and media coverage of Sun Rong's date proposal, Wang's family insisted that he finish his meal quickly and go out with the girl. Eventually, unable to resist the pressure, Wang decided to go on the date. The media broadcasted news of Sun Rong and Wang's date, drawing the attention of the persistent assassins who continued to follow them. In an attempt to protect Sun Rong, Wang repeatedly thwarted the assassins' plans and used the trick of forgetting to erase the memory of each encounter. The date continued with a ride on the Ferris wheel, and as fireworks lit up the sky, Wang's attention momentarily diverted. Seizing the opportunity, the assassins took over their cabin, but Wang swiftly acted, throwing them away. In a final act of secrecy, Wang asked Sun Rong to keep their adventures hidden using the trick of promise at 100%. The assassination attempt on Sun Rong had failed, marking an unprecedented failure for the Shadow faction, known for a flawless track record over the past 100 years. This failure led the leader of the Shadow faction to issue the Shadow Kill Order, a drastic measure to salvage their damaged reputation. The following day at the academy, Sun Rong unknowingly became the target of a spying device, while the leader of the Shadow faction also took notice of Wang, recognizing his impressive force value of 5. As Sun Rong approached Wang Ling, who was pointedly ignoring her, the atmosphere intensified when Chen Kao and Gua Hao surrounded her, bombarding Wang with questions about their recent date. The conversation halted abruptly as Sun Rong joined them, her bodyguards forming a protective barrier around her. At this moment, Wang Zukeng arrived, bringing news of the lingering threat from the assassins who had targeted Sun Rong in Heavenly Paradise. Sun Rong was placed under special protection, but she pretended to be unaware of the danger. Jui, unexpectedly appearing on the scene, claimed to have spotted the assassins when Sun Rong and Wang were leaving the park. Jui began praising Wang for handling the situation, prompting Wang to discreetly use the trick of forgetting on him as well. However, the revelation of the Shadow faction's Shadow Kill Order against Sun Rong took the forefront, Jui disclosed this alarming information, creating a new layer of complexity and danger for Sun Rong's safety. The leader of the Shadow faction, infuriated upon discovering Jui's sabotage, cursed him for thwarting the assassination plan. Jui, however, had already implemented special security precautions for Sun Rong. Demonstrating the complete security system of the school, Jui showcased the 7-star squad deployed in the sky to prevent distant snipers or aerial attacks. Meanwhile, the leader of the Shadow faction relayed all the information to the first line, leading to an attack on the school grounds. The guards were swiftly neutralized by Zhu Feng, a member of the Hammer team. A late arrival from the Shadow faction, Zhu Ying, a master assassin in the Golden Pill phase, received confirmation from Zhu Feng that the yard was cleared, allowing her to enter the building. While the students were preoccupied with their smartphones, discussing the unfolding situation in their class group, Wang Zuking sarcastically interrupted their conversation. The guards within the building were eliminated by Zhu Ying, an expert in toxins. However, the arrival of cruisers for protection annoyed Zhu Feng. In the midst of the chaos, Wang Zuking unexpectedly threw a white chalk at Zhu Ying, who dodged the attack. Zhu Jian, the leader of the Hammer team, utilized his invisibility skills to escape the notice of the 7-star squad. Possessing a magic hammer with immense power, Zhu Jian successfully accumulated his force, preparing to shatter any magic formation. Wang Zuking, disappointed with the Shadow faction assassins, shattered Zhu Jing's thunder hammer with his bare fist. Zhu Jing attempted to escape using a surprise toxic smoke bomb but stumbled on the door opened by Wang, who was receiving a gift package. While Sun Rong worried, Jui assured her that Wang would be fine. Zhu Feng, having subdued all the guards, attempted to tame the green dog but fell victim to its life force draining bite. The green dog reverted to its original form, finishing Zhu Feng with an energy blast. Wang, spotting Zhu Jian accumulating force, approached to collect his drone package. The 7-star squad briefly stopped Wang but approved the parcel as non-threatening. Passing by Zhu Jian, Wang informed him of the failure of the assassination plan and the defeat of his subordinate. Enraged, Zhu Jian attempted a power overload to disrupt the security system but failed to harm Wang in his primary phase. Zhu Jian collapsed, bleeding profusely. The Shadow faction leader seethed at the plan's failure. Wang, taking Zhu Jian away, encountered Jui, who praised him. Using the trick of forgetting once again, Wang made Jui believe he was responsible for the successful intervention. The captured assassins were handed over to the police, and Wang, feigning injuries, acted in front of the students, ensuring the safety of Sun Rong and resolving the crisis at the academy. Wang, under the pretense of being on sick leave, had credited Master Jui for the successful intervention and acted injured. Sun Rong, genuinely concerned about Wang's well-being, summoned the best medical experts and constructed a private healing cabin with an all-immersive experience. Valuable medicines showered on him automatically every hour to aid his recovery. Wang's mother, unaware of the ruse, brought him breakfast, prompting a conversation about his extended sick leave. She insisted that Wang return to school the day after tomorrow. Chen Kao, Hua Hao, and Sun Rong later visited Wang's house with gifts. Sun Rong, in an effort to build a relationship with Wang's mother, presented her with expensive nutritional pills, herbs, and gifts. On the day of the attack, when Wang feigned injury, Sun Rong had called for his family's private chopper. Wang, playing dead, observed everything with closed eyes. Wang Zuking had also given something to Chen Kao to deliver to Wang: the annual spiritual power test. Sun Rong was concerned about Wang's health and opposed him taking the test, as it could consume a lot of vital spirits. Hua Hao suggested using an injection that Sun Rong had brought, but the sight of the needle scared Wang. When Wang suddenly woke up, he snatched the annual spiritual power test from Chen Kao, declaring that he felt much better and would be returning to school the day after tomorrow. Chen Kao and the others waited for Wang to take the test together. Chen Kao demonstrated how to use the annual spiritual test, emphasizing that true cultivators could visualize power. Meanwhile, across the country, countless students attempted to surpass a bar that Wang simply ignored. The chairman of the 59 faction, Tang Jings, set a new record in the annual spiritual sword competition, surpassing Jui's 10-year record by over 300 points. Hua Hao's spiritual test fell below expectations, leading him to contemplate suicide, but Chen Kao intervened. Sun Rong, ranked second in the overall ranking, took the test next, inadvertently damaging Wang's room. When it was Wang's turn for the spirituality test, despite not making any preparations, he decided to sneak through it. However, his power sphere surpassed everyone's expectations. Attempting to launch it into outer space, Wang's spiritual power sphere was detected by the wristband, placing his name at the top of the list with null numbers. While many dismissed it as a system error, Sun Rong, ever curious, suspected something more. Feeling the danger of being at the top of the list, Wang's friends, including Sun Rong, decide to bid farewell to him in the evening. However, Wang decides to seek help from Hua Hao. He visits Guo Hao's house and asks him to hack into the mainframe system to change Wang's score from the top to an ordinary 176. Wang simultaneously, Tang Jing's and his friend are also attempting to hack into the system to uncover Wang's true score. They discover that Wang's score has spilled over but are unable to comprehend its significance. Realizing that Guo Hao is making changes in the system, Tang Jing's and his friend become concerned. They know that if caught, they could face expulsion from the school. As Guo Hao reads Tang Jing's name, he remembers him as the arrogant guy who was his classmate back at the Immortal Cram High School. In a moment of carelessness, Guo Hao triggers the alarm while modifying Tang Jing's score. Both Guo Hao and Tang Jing's exit the system simultaneously, but before leaving, Guo Hao changes Tang Jing's name to Tang Birdie 2, eliciting laughter from everyone who sees the modified name. Tang Jing's, despite the unexpected turn of events, expresses a desire to meet Wang and Guo Hao from Faction 60, and that Froggy 2 has the qualifications and can be their 5th member. The day of the competition arrives, and Faction 60 faces Faction 59 in the first round of the annual Senior Phase Sword Competition. As the competition is broadcasted on TV, Tang Jing's, now known as Tang Birdie 2, is training hard. However, during an interview, when asked about the first ranked person, Wang, Tang Jing's blood boils, and he gets distracted, leading to a minor injury. Despite the distraction, Tang Jing's wishes luck to Wang and leaves the spot. Instructor Pan expresses concerns about Faction 60's decision to participate in the competition, given their history of losses against Faction 59. However, Wang Zukeng and Zhu Yi remain determined, highlighting that they were not even selected for the group stage in the past. Faction 60 lacks quality enrollment, with no force value higher than 1,000, except for Sun Rong. To meet the competition's requirements, they select the green dog, Froggy 2, as their 5th member. Zhu Yi demonstrates Froggy 2's ability to transform into a human, ensuring the creature's qualifications for participation. The competition begins with Faction 60 facing Faction 59, and the team, led by Wang, is set to prove themselves against the odds. Wang, Chen Kao, Guo Hao, and Sun Rong, along with Froggy 2, gather for a video call initiated by Wang Zuking to discuss the upcoming National Senior Phase Sword Competition. Wang Zuking informs everyone about the competition and urges them to prepare their spiritual swords within 3 days. Chen Kao receives the generational sword Lai Kao from his father, a significant heirloom. Guo Hao reveals his spiritual sword, forged with the teeth of a night devil tiger, a level 3 spiritual beast. Wang Zuking is surprised by the fact that these level 1 students already possess spiritual swords. Sun Rong showcases her sword named Ocean, and Froggy 2 surprises everyone with his sword named Sky. Wang Zuking emphasizes the importance of patience in cultivating a sword spirit. Initially, the sword spirit's body is in a chaotic state, but with consistent efforts, it solidifies and evolves, gaining intelligence. They are informed that the upcoming lessons will focus on the maintenance of spiritual swords, and in advanced sword lessons, they will learn about flying and fighting with swords. During the video call, everyone expresses curiosity about Wang's sword. However, the discussion shifts to Tang Jing's team, and the instructor is shocked to see the 5th person on the list, a gangster named Beifeng. Provided by Tang Jing's, the instructor gives Tang Jing's the freedom to handle the situation, indicating that they can afford to lose this year. Wang, feeling hesitant about participating in the competition and revealing his true power, decides to seek advice from his parents. They discuss recent news about an explosion at a spiritual force chemical plant in the city, cautioning against the purchase of magic wares with high spiritual force density near spiritual figures. The Cultivation Council's armored cruise troop surrounds the Shadow Faction's headquarters, marking the first time in history that the lair has been found. The leader of the Shadow Faction has been arrested, and resistance is only present on a few upper levels. Zhu Yi arrives on the scene, drawing media attention, and he shares his encounters with the Shadow Faction, expressing confidence in foiling their plans again. Wang queries his parents about his sword, leading him to retrieve it from the attic. As he prepares to open the box containing the sword, he receives a message from Wang Zukeng about their visit to Faction 59 the next day to familiarize themselves with the venue. Wang, still uncertain about participating, avoids showing his sword. The next day at Faction 59, Wang arrives with a seemingly tiny sword, and only Froggy 2 and Sun Rong can sense the spiritual force emitted from it. As the competition is set to last for 5 days, they need to stay there for a few nights. Wang, pretending to have a stomach ache, plans to avoid participating in the competition. However, Zhu Yi cancels his plan to accompany them due to urgent work. Meanwhile, Zhu Yi falls into a trap when investigating the captured leader of the Shadow Faction. The leader turns out to be a dummy that explodes, causing a significant incident at the cruiser's headquarters. Unaware of this, the school bus heads to Faction 59. Wang's sword begins shaking, and a boy appears from inside. Wang pushes the spirit sword back inside his body, but it continues emerging from different locations. Wang reminds his sword of their agreement the day before. Amidst the tense atmosphere between Faction 60 and Faction 59, Wang tries to find an opportune moment to feign illness and avoid participating in the competition. The rivalry between Mrs. Pan and Mrs. Zai escalates, leading to a cold exchange of words. Mrs. Zai mocks Mrs. Pan for having a force value 5 student, Wang. Seizing the chance, Wang pretends to fall ill. Mrs. Zai, wanting to expose Wang's true power, uses the grand testing trick on him. However, at that precise moment, the sword spirit reveals itself, notifying Wang of a short circuit in his amulet. Wang's true power is unveiled, stunning everyone present. The force of his spiritual energy knocks everyone to the ground. To stabilize himself, Wang takes a low-power pill, preventing extreme instability. Mrs. Pan shifts the blame to Mrs. Zai for Wang's condition. Simultaneously, Jui acts swiftly, detonating the bomb and creating chaos. The leader of the Shadow faction, witnessing the unexpected turn of events, decides to retreat. Wang's plan seems to be working. Wang, carried away by the medics, left Faction 59 puzzled about the origin of the colossal shockwave. Sun Rong, entering school, encounters Tang Jingzi, a fellow graduate from the same cultivation cram school. But tensions rise as Sun Rong, angered by Faction 59's actions, nearly throws a punch at Tang Jingzi. Luckily, his friend Yishabei steps in to prevent a full-blown brawl. Chen Kao attempts to intervene, but Faction 59 students stop him. Sun Rong, on the verge of attacking Tang Jingzi, is stopped by Wang Zukeng, who advises her to calm down. Faction 59 exits calmly, leaving Wang in the care of medical professionals. Inside the operation theater, the bandages are removed, only to reveal that Wang is nowhere to be found. He used a flash trick, causing more damage to his amulet. Wang contacts his father, informing him of his precarious situation. Meanwhile, Mrs. Zai outlines the rules for the upcoming competition between Faction 60 and 59, emphasizing the 5 altars representing metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The next day, Faction 59 is chosen as the competition arena due to an attack on Faction 60's campus. Wang, unable to use his spiritual force, follows the guidance of the Spirit of the Sword, seeking an exit in Faction 59. Simultaneously, the 5th member of Faction 59 appears, creating a wave of water and offering Sun Rong a flower. Bufeng proposes a deal to Sun Rong to deal with Faction 59, but she refuses. Bufeng, showcasing his power, brutally beats Chen Kao for interfering. However, Wang intervenes and catches Chen Kao, surprising everyone by restoring his annihilated arm. Wang's grand trick of repairing, however, takes a toll on his amulet. Bufeng, testing Wang's potential, attacks him, but Wang, unfazed, approaches Sun Rong calmly. Jui is also on his way to Faction 59. The leader of the Shadow faction captures the leader eyeing Wang, and Bufeng, attempting to flirt, gets a taste of her power. As Wang returns to the corridor with his favorite dry noodles, he witnesses Bufeng tied upside down, facing the consequences for his actions. The leader of the Shadow faction, Zhang Liang, has bound Bufeng and Wang with immortal binding ropes and thrown them on top of a building, unaware that Wang is a potential spiritual force bomb capable of catastrophic destruction. As Zhang Liang stomps on Wang, calling him a useless force-valued 5th guy, the sword spirit of Wang wakes up and questions the reason for their predicament. Zhang Liang's subordinate drags Bufeng away while she continues her assault on Wang. The amulet has vanished, and Wang must control his emotions to prevent a burst of negative energy. The sword spirit attempts to distract Wang by talking about crispy dry noodles, successfully calming him and stopping the shaking sky. Zhang Liang, now disguised as Bufeng, plans to infiltrate Faction 60 and kill Sun Rong. Meanwhile, Mrs. Zai and Mrs. Pan engage in mockery, with Mrs. Zai revealing that their 5th member is a human, unlike Faction 60's 5th member, a green dog brought for the competition. Zhang Liang, disguised as Bufeng, bursts into the conference room claiming that Wang has been kidnapped. The subordinate guarding Bufeng and Wang provides water to Bufeng. Bufeng, the trickster, tries to win over the subordinate, eventually mocking him as a weak driver. To everyone's surprise, the driver unveils his true potential, revealing a strong spiritual force. Jui arrives at Faction 59, and Zhang Liang, still posing as Bufeng, fabricates a story about a blonde girl kidnapping Wang. Sun Rong, undeterred by the threat of the Shadow faction, beats the guards and takes matters into her own hands to save Wang. The dancing old bald driver has neutralized the guards using a wolfberry attack, and then, revealing his seriousness, summons a cavalry and infantry with the yellow disc treasure house. Sun Rong, utilizing her 13 more swords technique, counters the attack. Outside Faction 59, Wang Ling's father requests entry to meet his son, hoping for an exception from the guards. The situation is becoming more complex and intriguing as the characters navigate through deception and danger. A sudden series of explosions in the sky grab the guards' attention, creating chaos. Froggy too expresses a desire for the old driver as his night snack. Sun Rong struggles against the laughing old driver's attack, who reminisces about his boss, Zhang Liang, and compares Sun Rong's talent to hers when they were the same age. The old driver uses gravity to pull Sun Rong down. In an unexpected turn, time reverses to the moment before the battle begins. As the old driver drops Bufuing to the ground, Wang seizes the opportunity to reveal himself without being caught. Sun Rong, entering the old building's field, witnesses Master Zhui hanging the old driver in place of Wang. The hostages are secured, and the old driver is taken into custody. Wang instructs his spiritual sword, Jink, to stay close to the real Bufuing and prevent any escape attempts. Wang devises a plan to cancel the competition by preventing Bufuing's participation, hoping to escape without causing any disasters. However, Zhang Liang, disguised as Bufuing, surprises everyone by participating in the competition. Special communication devices are provided for the teams, but Wang's mind reading fails against Zhang Liang. Despite his initial reluctance, Wang finds himself participating in the competition due to the efforts of his friends in rescuing him. The irony isn't lost on him, but feeling obligated to contribute after their efforts, he resolves to do his best. Before Wang Ling's father can give him a new amulet, the competition has already started, and Wang is sent to the arena. Zhui greets Mr. Wang and learns about the critical situation. If Wang's amulet breaks, the world will be destroyed. The stakes are high as Wang faces the challenge he sought to evade. As Mr. Wang places the amulet on Wang, silence falls over him, signifying the dual function of the amulet, not only sealing Wang Ling's force value but also restraining his passion. Yishabei notices a discrepancy in Bufeng's spiritual force compared to their records, prompting caution from the team. Chen Kao positions himself in the west near the altar of metal. Yishabei uses their system hacking skills to track everyone's locations. Sun Rong stands in the north near the altar of water, the dog is in the south by the altar of fire, and Bufeng's spiritual source is near the dog. Wang's spiritual source remains undetected by Yishabei. Faction 59's fourth member is in the center, and Guahao, secretly observing, becomes the target of Tang Jingzi's sudden attack, eliminating him on the spot. However, Guahao responds and starts running. Tang Jingzi instructs Yishabei to handle Chen Kao at the altar of metal while he heads to the altar of water to confront Sun Rong. Liang Fei moves toward the altar of wood to face Wang. Guahao loses one of his lives early in the competition, but Faction 59 begins seizing the altar of earth. Yishabei engages in a battle with Chen Kao, utilizing the web of dimensions to capture him and control his body through false neuron signals. Froggy too faces Zhang Liang disguised as Bufeng, taking cover behind a rock after exchanging blows. As Liang Fei approaches the altar of wood, he discovers Wang lying on the ground. Guahao intervenes, attacking Liang Fei. Sun Rong, who is seizing the altar of water, is suddenly attacked by Tang Jingzi. Sun Rong deftly dodges the attack and removes the sword from the altar, leading to both swords transforming into human forms. The competition intensifies with strategic moves, unexpected attacks, and the unveiling of human form swords. The dynamic interactions between the characters add layers of complexity to the unfolding events. Sun Rong retaliates against Tang Jingzi with a massive water dragon, only to have it slashed in two with a single blow from Tang Jingzi's sword. Faction 59 successfully seizes 3 altars, and Tang Jingzi calls for Bufeng's assistance at the altar of water against Sun Rong. Zhang Liang, seizing the opportunity, makes her move. Yishabei starts seizing the altar of metal, while Tang Jingzi activates his blowing snow technique against Sun Rong's water-natured sword. The water altar freezes, and Sun Rong must defeat Tang Jingzi before Bufeng arrives. She attacks Tang Jingzi's sword vigorously, attempting to turn the tide. Faction 59 secures 4 out of 5 altars. Sun Rong pushes Tang Jingzi's sword around the altar, but suddenly, Bufeng arrives, breaking one of Sun Rong's swords. A loud noise follows, and the ice shatters, giving Sun Rong an opportunity to escape. Tang Jingzi, heading towards the altar, informs Bufeng that he doesn't care about his true identity as long as they win, promising assistance after the competition. Faction 59 captures all 5 altars, and the meter starts filling rapidly. However, one altar unexpectedly shifts to the side of Faction 60. Froggy too defeats Liang Fei, and Sun Rong rushes towards Guahao, intensifying the competition's suspense and unpredictability. Liang Fei finds himself exhausted after destroying the words coming out of Guahao's mouth cannon. The unique limitation of Guo Hao's mouth cannon, unable to repeat the same word for a while, becomes a weakness as he struggles to think of new phrases. Froggy 2, observing the battle between Liang Fei and Guo Hao from the bushes, plans to absorb the leaked spiritual force during the confrontation. However, Froggy 2 spots Wang and retreats into hiding. In a strategic move, Liang Fei kicks Wang, pretending to hurt him, enraging Guo Hao and causing him to unleash a barrage of new phrases from his mouth cannon. Seeing Guo Hao's efforts, Wang starts feeling for his friend, but he knows he cannot reveal any emotions or spiritual force due to the fragile state of his amulet. As the amulet begins to crack, Froggy 2 jumps onto Wang's neck, absorbing the negative energy and allowing Wang to use his spiritual energy. Wang and Froggy 2 combine spiritually, and as Liang Fei attempts to challenge Wang, he shatters Liang Fei's sword with a mere fingertip touch. The force is overwhelming, sending Liang Fei out of the arena, akin to being hit by a roaring truck from his left side. Faction 60 seizes the Altar of Woods as a result. Meanwhile, Mrs. Zai starts flattering Wang Zukeng, questioning if he taught Wang the human-beast combination. Wang Zukeng deceives her, claiming he invented the technique. The battle becomes a mix of strategy, deception, and unexpected alliances, keeping the audience engaged. Wang Zukeng returns home after the competition and spends 3 days and nights attempting to teach his dog, but the efforts yield no results. Yishabei informs Tang Jings that the Force Value 5 guy's spiritual force has merged with the dog's, overpowering Liang Fei. The combined spiritual force is formidable, making it challenging for anyone to handle. Faction 60 seizes the Altar of Fire, and Yishabei captures the Altar of Metal, while Guo Hao remains at the Altar of Woods. Sun Rong's location remains elusive to Yishabei. Wang heads towards the Altar of Metal, and Tang orders Bufeng to move towards the Altar of Earth, with Liang Zheng tasked to reclaim the Altar of Fire. Faction 60 suffers a disadvantage due to the combined spiritual force, but Faction 59 has the advantage of holding more altars. Tang anticipates Wang's next move, speculating that he is heading for the Altar of Water. Tang recognizes that a direct confrontation would result in heavy losses for both factions. Faction 59 must avoid the combination and not face Wang directly. Tang strategizes to maintain constant movement, seize more altars easily, and secure the final victory. Tang Jingzi orders Yishabei to move to the Altar of Wood and meet him there, providing continuous updates on the status of the combination. Wang arrives at the Altar of Metal and successfully seizes it, prompting a mysterious smile. Chen Kao notices the unusual expression on Wang's face, a rare occurrence that only his father understands. Faction 59 successfully regains control of the Altar of Wood and Fire, shifting the balance of power in their favor as the competition unfolds. In this critical moment, Wang grasps Tang Jingzi's strategic approach, realizing that he is employing the strategy of 3 racing horses. Understanding that no matter how powerful he is, seizing the remaining altars would lead to entrapment, Wang decides to power up, aiming to be faster than the competition and seize all altars before the enemy arrives. As Wang is about to launch his move, Sun Rong unexpectedly speaks up. Sun Rong is revealed to be with Guo Hao. Tang Jingzi and Yishabei suddenly appear in the Altar of Woods. Guo Hao and Sun Rong begin moving towards the Altar of Fire. Upon reaching it, Guo Hao mocks Liang Zheng, while Sun Rong attempts to capture the Altar of Fire. Simultaneously, Wang successfully seizes the Altar of Water. Tang Jingzi and Yishabei rush towards the Altar of Fire, creating a tense race for control. Liang Zheng observes Sun Rong's movement towards the Altar of Fire, heightening the intensity of the competition. The dynamics of the strategic maneuvers and unexpected alliances add layers of complexity to the unfolding events, keeping the outcome uncertain and the audience on the edge of their seats. Bufeng arrives at the Altar of Metal where Chen Kao is positioned, waiting for the approaching enemy. Tang Jingzi instructs Zhang Liang, disguised as Bufeng, to do whatever it takes for their victory. Sun Rong and Tang Jingzi have known each other since childhood, with their families having connections for generations. Despite their shared history, they have been arch rivals, adding personal stakes to the ongoing competition. As Liang Zheng rushes to stop Sun Rong from seizing the altar, Guo Hao attacks him from behind using his mouth cannon. However, Liang Zheng stumbles and falls on a rock, redirecting the attack towards Sun Rong. Despite defending herself, Sun Rong falls from the steps of the altar. Recalling her father's words about their prestigious lineage as descendants of Sun Fengchao, Sun Rong vows not to lose to those who have humiliated the Sun family for 14 years with their art of confinement, the Tang family. Tang Jingzi arrives at the fire altar and berates Liang Jings for delaying. Guo Hao attempts to stop Liang Zheng, but Tang Jingzi intervenes, destroying the barricades created by Guo Hao. Sun Rong engages in a fierce battle with Liang Zheng, and Tang Jingzi's spiritual sword shatters Sun Rong's sword. Tang Jingzi delivers a powerful punch to Liang Zheng, expressing the desire to win with a score of 5-0. However, realizing the current situation, he considers accepting a score of 4-1, as Faction 59 may have hedged their bets. If Faction 60 seizes the Altar of Fire first, Faction 59 will likely focus on capturing altars to maintain their lead, forcing them to give up defending one of their own altars. The strategic maneuvering and shifting dynamics continue to unfold, creating a gripping narrative within the competition. Tang Jingzi strategically assigns Bufeng to the Altar of Metal and Yishabei to the Altar of Water, with the specific task of watching over Wang. Yishabei's ability to anticipate Wang's every move ensures that even if Wang seizes an undefended altar, Faction 59 will quickly fill the vacancy, resulting in a 1-for-1 exchange. To tip the scales in their favor, Sun Rong must seize the Altar of Fire, while Chen Kao defends his altar against Bufeng's advances. Chen Kao engages in a tense battle with Bufeng, dodging attacks and resisting Bufeng's attempts to gaslight his emotions. During the confrontation, Zhang Liang refrains from using her long-range tricks, and Zhu Yi, observing the match through cameras, senses something suspicious about Bufeng. Realizing this, Bufeng utilizes fallen metal leaves on the ground, launching a combined attack towards Chen Kao. Despite enduring the assault, Chen Kao tries his best to defend the altar. Tang Jingzi becomes annoyed with Bufeng's delayed progress at the Altar of Metal. Sun Rong, determined to face Tang Jingzi alone, orders Gua Hao to leave the Altar of Fire. Gua Hao falls behind as Sun Rong challenges Tang Jingzi with a single sword. Meanwhile, Guo Hao begins summoning the spirit of the Devil Teeth Sword, knowing that he only has one chance to successfully summon it. Chen Kao, overwhelmed by his emotions, cries due to his perceived weakness. Mr. Wang attempts to force Mrs. Zai to stop the competition, warning that the world will be destroyed if it continues. Sun Rong struggles in her defense against Tang Jingzi, while Chen Kao tries to hold on to the altar. Suddenly, Yishabei informs Tang Jingzi about two bursting spiritual forces from the altars of metal and fire. Sun Rong sacrifices the spirit of her sword to summon the spirit of the Fire Phoenix using the Devil's Teeth Sword, and Chen Kao unleashes his true power of Buddha. Sun Rong and Chen Kao successfully secure both of their altars. In a surprising turn of events, Faction 60 takes the lead with a score of 4-1. Zhang Liang, unable to contain herself any longer, unveils her true identity, and Wang successfully seizes the Altar of Wood. Sun Rong's meticulous planning becomes evident as Faction 60's best possible outcome would be securing the Altar of Fire with Sun Rong and Guo Hao, while Chen Kao defends the Altar of Metal. However, this would only result in a score of 3-2, and Faction 59 would maintain their lead. To ensure Faction 60's victory, an extra move is required, and the ideal candidate for this task is Wang. Wang, with his incredible spiritual force post combination, is alone in his endeavor. He decides to seize another altar, knowing that if Yishabei takes over the Altar of Water, the progress won't be enough. Wang successfully seizes the Altar of Woods, taking advantage of his original weak spiritual force. After separating from Froggy 2, Wang sneaks into the undefended Altar of Woods without appearing on Yishabei's radar. Froggy 2, in human form, stays at Wang's position to attract Yishabei's attention. In an unexpected turn, Froggy 2 starts frightening Yishabei with his frog face. Yishabei's spiritual force is designed for humans, and Froggy 2, being a frog, is immune to her control over the nervous system. The web Yishabei developed inadvertently enables Froggy 2 to locate her. Guo Hao decides to stay near the Altar of Fire and urges Sun Rong to capture the Altar of Earth. Wang's father expresses anxiety about Wang, who has a tendency to ignore concepts like failure and success since childhood. Wang's indifferent outlook on life is about to change as an unnoticed dim light within him transforms into the warm sun of spring, ready to ignite a fire. Guo Hao reaches the Altar of Metal, where he encounters the injured Chen Kao. The unfolding events continue to add complexity and depth to the competition, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. In a sudden twist of events, Froggy 2 senses something and rushes towards Wang. Jink, Wang's spiritual sword, also detects emotional fluctuations in his master. Wang, still attempting to restrain himself, hesitates in his actions. Just as he contemplates his next move, Sun Rong appears and manages to calm him down, signaling the end of the seizing. Chen Kao, injured from the battle, prompts Wang Zuking to request medical assistance from Mrs. Zai. However, the situation takes a dark turn when Zhang Liang unexpectedly appears behind Sun Rong and shatters her soul, breaking through the emotional barrier in Wang's heart. Without warning, Froggy 2 intervenes, stopping the flow of time to prevent irreversible damage. Wang Ling, fueled by intense plot armor emotions, brutally attacks Zhang Liang, overwhelming her completely. He is on the verge of killing her when a sudden shift in his emotions halts the assault. Zhang Liang, seemingly resigned to her fate, desires death. Wang's focus shifts and he remembers Sun Rong. Rushing towards her, he attempts to use his grand trick of repairing, but it fails. Zhang Liang's cruel attack has shattered Sun Rong's soul into pieces, and the grand trick of repairing is rendered useless. Despite Froggy 2 stopping the flow of time to keep Sun Rong breathing, her life is hanging by a thread. Wang, desperate to find a solution, contemplates an unimaginable idea: restarting the world. This revelation leaves the audience in suspense, wondering how Wang plans to navigate this complex and emotionally charged situation. In the aftermath of the devastating events, Sun Rong's vital spirit lies shattered into pieces, beyond the repair of Wang's grand trick of repairing. Jink, Wang's spiritual sword, solemnly states that no one can save a life that is already gone. The cruelty inflicted by the Shadow Faction girl, Zhang Liang, has left an indelible mark on Sun Rong. Despite Wang's attempts to blame himself for not eliminating Zhang Liang sooner, Froggy 2 intervenes, providing a glimmer of hope. With the flow of time halted by Froggy 2's unique ability, Wang contemplates a daring solution. Froggy 2 possesses the power to convert spiritual force into an accelerating ray, allowing the acceleration of spiritual force to the speed of light, effectively creating a relative stillness in the world. Wang, driven by desperation and determination, generates an immense ball of spiritual force 10 times the size of Earth. Froggy 2 attempts to reason with Wang, cautioning against the violation of the natural law of reversing time. Unperturbed, Wang Ling, with Froggy 2's collaboration, controls his negative energy and embarks on a perilous journey. The combination of Wang and Froggy 2, along with the injection of an enormous amount of spiritual force, triggers a phenomenon resembling a bolt of lightning. In an instant, the timeline rewinds to a pivotal moment, a moment where Wang was being bullied by the bald aggressor. However, this time, Chen Kao and Guo Hao come to Wang's rescue. The world is similar yet different, lacking the presence of Sun Rong. Wang, now living a peaceful life without the turmoil of the previous events, experiences a stark contrast. He runs after a black limousine in the evening, but this time, Sun Rong is not in the car. As Froggy 2's manipulation of time converges with Wang's manipulation of space, fueled by an injection of an immense amount of spiritual force, a new world is created. This new world absorbs everything from the old world, heralding the destruction of the previous reality. In the underworld, the shockwaves reverberate, and the new monarch senses the disturbance. The white assistant, believing it to be an earthquake, is joined by the black assistant, who presents the soul of Sun Rong. The monarch, upon hearing Sun Rong's name, is taken aback and attempts to match her DNA with the master's. The results, showing a 99.04% match, shock the monarch. Both assistants dismiss Sun Rong's presence as a mere dream. Meanwhile, in the new world, Wang Ling lives unaware of the events transpiring in the underworld. The monarch alters records and sends Sun Rong's soul back, seemingly erasing her from the picture. Jink, Wang's spiritual sword, witnesses Sun Rong's return to life and explains the situation to Wang. Jink implores Sun Rong to use him to prevent Wang from creating a new world. Sun Rong, determined, rushes towards Wang with Jink in hand, but getting close proves challenging. Despite the difficulties, Sun Rong succeeds in stopping Wang from destroying 3 worlds when she pierces through him with Jink. In this critical moment, Sun Rong has finally found Wang. The timeline rewinds to the point when Chen Kao was battling Zhang Liang. As Zhang Liang was about to reveal her true identity, Wang intervenes, burying Zhang Liang with his spiritual force from the altar of Earth. Faction 60 emerges victorious in the competition with a perfect score of 5-0. As Sun Rong is about to approach Wang, the media and interviewers surround her, eager to capture her thoughts on winning the competition for the first time in history. As Sun Rong saves Wang, he attempts to use his grand trick of repairing to restore the world. However, the laws of nature are disturbed, and his usual tricks prove ineffective. The only viable option is to reverse time, but the consequence is that Sun Rong will have no memory of saving the world or Wang's attempts to create a new world for her. Despite the sacrifices, Wang and Sun Rong agree to the reversal of time. Zhang Liang is taken into custody by the police, and Mr. Wang places the amulet back around Wang's neck. Wang, with his emotions sealed once again, returns to his old life. The narrative leaves the characters grappling with the complexities of their decisions and the consequences of tampering with time and fate. The story takes a poignant turn, highlighting the sacrifices made for the sake of a world that might never remember the struggles and battles fought within its own fabric. Now, with the downfall of spiritual energy in the world, Wang is on the verge of collapsing due to his overpowered BS plot armor, but fortunately his father comes to his rescue and puts a restraining talisman on his neck. Zhui, the master with the weird curly hair, is reporting to his superior about apprehending the evil lady responsible for the earth-ending events in the previous moments. Back at Wang's school, Wang is sitting quietly at the side, wandering into the blue sky, just wanting a peaceful life. Their teacher enters the class and announces that there will be a spiritual energy test to check whether the students of the elite class pass the threshold to stay in the elite or not. Fu-ho approaches Wang in the bathroom to beg him. He wants him to make some pills so that he can pass the spiritual energy test with ease. Wang is bothered that the weak-ass fatty came to him for help, but he decides to help him regardless. The principal demonstrates the test and basically, the student has to stand and withstand a literal thunderbolt fall on his head. Kinda barbaric, I must say. Fu-hao and Wang are concocting some performance-boosting pills in the lab. No, not those kinds of pills, the spiritual energy-boosting pills. They are rated by their instructor, but they manage to send her off by taking off their clothes and making her believe that they are just drying their clothes off. Fatty has consumed the pills in confusion and goes Super Saiyan for a moment but is brought back to his weak self by a spank from Wang. Fu-hao manages to pass the test, and when it comes Wang's turn, he makes a thunderbolt so grand that it malfunctions all over the city around him with boss music. He transforms his cute little fairy assistant into a wooden sword and gives it to Sun Rong, who uses it to cut the cord and shut the machine off in all Zoro style. However, the slash makes a crack in their dimension and the demon in a hell-like dimension notices this. The demon lord inquires his assistant about the crack, and he tells him that it leads to the human world and is sucking their world's spiritual energy. This enrages the demon, and he remembers he sent a demon frog to subdue the human world. Little does he know that the frog has turned into a dog and is living the life of his dreams with humans. He orders his assistant to go check on him. Froggy gets a notice of his master visiting him and he runs to Wang for protection. Instructor Pam is also disappointed that Wang passed the test, and she decides to visit him. She asks the principal to come along too, but it seems like the principal has some fun things to tend to. Froggy's master enters the human world and sends a message to Froggy that he is coming, which sends shivers down his spine. Froggy tells Wang about how fearsome and strong his master is. Mr. Wang is working on a new talisman which will help him improve his speech. He asks Froggy to help him, but the dumb dog sticks it upside down, leading to a leak in the spiritual energy. However, Froggy finally makes himself of some use and devours it before a catastrophe strikes. Instructor Pam reaches their home, and the new talisman is working wonders. Wang is no longer a lame introvert. He impresses his instructor with all the work he was supposed to do in the last semester and also makes some pencils and erasers dance on his whim. This makes his parents worry that this might be a little excessive, and Wang's mom tries to divert Pam in quite a seductive manner, saying that she wants to show her around the house. Wang's dad makes some adjustments and changes the talisman. However, this time, Wang unintentionally makes all the furniture of the house live. His mom distracts Pam by taking her to do some private talk. She tells her the sob story about Wang's depressing past. Wang uses Froggy as a rifle to subdue the floating furniture. This gives Froggy's position to his master, and he teleports to Wang's house. However, at the same time, Wang's talisman malfunctions again, and as Froggy's master opens the door, he is vaporized by the BS plot armor of Wang. Pam also returns to school, and Froggy finds the remnant of his master who has turned into dust. A spiritually powered airplane dagger hybrid is soaring through the skies, and a Mikasa wannabe is also aboard. The passengers are awestruck by a gorgeous lady parading in the middle of the plane. She goes to her man, who asks her to sit her ass down and stop seducing the passengers. The airplane faces some turbulence, and the air hostess asks the lady to sit down, but she shuts her up. She is boasting about her power when the back of the airplane opens up with an explosion and she is sucked out of the plane. Her guy named Idler screams her name, "You," like a little girl. Back at the school, Fatty is discussing the plane crash when Instructor Pam announces the arrival of an ordinary class student to the elite class. It's a girl named Lin Xiaoyu who stirs up the manly emotions of our dude. Principal Kang is on a hunt for Yu, the world's supreme assassin who was thought to have gone missing in the plane crash. He reaches up to her, however she turns out to be an explosive doll. The real deal is back at the school, which is there to release her sister, Zhang Liang, who is imprisoned under the school. Fatty and the Baldy see her roaming around the school and follow her into a room. They are prying around when Lin Xiaoyu comes into the room and starts changing her clothes. However, before they can see her in her full glory, she finds them and goes after them, mistakenly opening a path to the underground in the room. The three of them fall into the hole and Wang follows them. Yu finally finds her sister chained in a hall and trapped in a cage. Her sister is happy, thinking she came there to save her, but to her dismay, she is there to kill her for not fulfilling the contract to kill Sun Rong. Before she can kill her, they are interrupted by the fall students. Wang teleports them to a room which appears to be a secret hideout. They find some investigations carried out by the idle beauty, the whiny man on the plane. Yu tells her sister that she was sucked into the demon world during the plane crash, and there she came across the contract. She found out that her sister became the leader of the Shadow faction, so she is here to kill her now. She delivers a powerful attack, however Principal Kang interferes. The students also uncover the story, and it turns out that the plane crash was due to Froggy coming into the human world. Also, the whiny guy is actually Principal Kang, who was waiting for you to come back all along. He kisses you in front of her sister, who burns with jealousy. Principal Kang delivers a lecture on how to keep a man's sword happy. Wang's sword spirit complains that he has also not been maintained. I wonder how one can maintain a whatever he is though. Fatty asks Wang's girl about her sword, to which she replies that the spirit within her sword is undergoing heat. Baldy has bought a maintenance kit online, however it isn't of use on his sword, so he offers to maintain Fatty's sword instead. They ask Wang to join them in visiting a sword maintenance shop. His sword can maintain itself, and we see the spirit getting hit on by some ladies. Wang and company go to a sword shop but find Lin Xiaoyu working there maintaining swords. She tells them her sob story of how she was taken care of by a sword spirit, and when she was 8, her sword spirit walked out on her to get some milk and never returned. So she worked in several sword stores in an attempt to find her. Tang arrives there and shoves some swords on Lin Xiaoyu to maintain, but she says that it will take her 3 days to complete. However, Tang wants her to complete them in a day. Sun Rong tries to defend Lin, but she accepts the payload and says that she will do overtime as she needs the money. The group wants to help her have a sword of her own, so on Wang's suggestion they decide to forge her a sword. They sneak into the shop at night, and when Lin goes home, they take out the materials and design. They assess the materials each one of them brought, and of course, Wang's material was the one to break the machine. They throw everything in a furnace to melt. The next day, Lin arrives at the shop and finds everyone there. They give her a weird musty sword and instantly breaks into tears. It turns out that it's the same as her previous sword. Tang arrives at the scene and asks Lin Xiaoyu to be the trial opponent for his sword. They go into the arena and Tang shows off his swordsmanship. He dashes towards Lin, but the Wang's material in the sword has turned it into a demonic sword, and it starts sucking the spiritual energy of Tang and his sword. He turns into an ugly old bastard, and before he succumbs to death, Wang's sword returns and breaks Tang's sword. Lin thanks the group for forging her such a great sword, and Wang's sword kid tells him that he was maintained quite well by some ladies, and it's revealed that the lady who maintained him was Lin's long-lasting spirit sister who went to buy milk years ago. Lin Xiaoyu gets possessed by Froggy's master, whose ring was used as material by Wang. He sees Sun Rong and blabbers about enacting some sort of revenge on her. Meanwhile, a girl is giving some sort of lucky sachet to her crush on the campus when she is caught by Principal Wang, who is acting like a true cock block. Sun Rong sees this and worries about her sachet when she is approached by Lin Xiaoyu, who offers to help her as she lives on the campus. Zhang Liang is trying to get out of the prison and uses a magic arrow to damage the seal. Not gonna lie, that cake doesn't deserve to be kept captured like that. Fatty tells Baldy about the mirror of the moon bridge, and Baldy gets afraid of the bizarre things that happen in the mirror. Sun Rong comes in and taps Wang in the head with a ruler. It's some sort of mating call to get him to come to the back gate of the school. However, Fatty and Baldy come along to third and fourth wheel them, much to Sun Rong's dismay. The four of them go to wander around the school at midnight, and Baldy is scared out of their pants when they come across Lin Xiaoyu, who is there to guide them. However, Zhang Liang gets free at the same time and gives out demonic laughter that scares our party. Baldy and Fatty go to the bathroom to take a break. Zhang Liang decides to escape the Supreme Hall through the drains and comes out of a toilet, scaring both the weaks with their meta spirits leaving their bodies. Wang comes into the bathroom and flushes Zhang Liang back to Principal Kang's man cave. She finds a lift and decides to take it. But as she reaches the surface, she runs into Wang again, who sends her back to the hole where she came from. Any chances our ex is down there too? By any chance? If they are, please keep them. Lin Xiaoyu leaves Sun Rong alone with Wang so Sun Rong can do the deed with peace. However, the demon master of Froggy is waiting for midnight so he can take Sun Rong back to the demon world and enact revenge on her ancestors as they decimated members of the demon clan years ago. Sun Rong takes Wang to the mirror and attempts to give him the love sachet. However, Lin Xiaoyu interrupts and attempts to take Sun Rong to the demon world through the mirror. However, Zhang Liang comes to get her shot at Sun Rong. He scoops Sun Rong from between, and Zhang Liang punches the demon master out of Lin Xiaoyu's body back into the demon world. Then she is punched to oblivion by Wang himself, with boss music in the background. Baldy is watching a live stream of an online hoe and has sent her a gift like the pathetic simp he is. His efforts don't go in vain though, and the e-girl invites him to a voice call with her. Weird curly hair, also known as Jui, has summoned some very old geezers from the past to discuss some important matters with them. He tells them that the demons are trying to infiltrate the human world and he needs their guidance. Wang is vibing to some music when Fatty tells him that Baldy is getting punished by his father in front of everyone for being a simp. However, Blady gives the reason that he was just trying to help the online hoe. His father understands, but when he comes to know that he also gave her a family heirloom, he gets enraged and slices his phone in half. Wang, his girl, Fatty, and Lin Xiaoyu are discussing the event, and Lin Xiaoyu calls the transfer of spiritual energy over the internet witchcraft. Baldy has not learned his lesson and has again joined the online hoeing session. They think the online hoe is a demon in disguise, and Fatty attempts to hack her livestream down. But the force is strong with this little hoe, and she defeats Fatty's little attack. Baldy is deep in hoe's tactics when Sun Rong tries her seduction technique on him. It has an effect on him for a small time, but the online hoe pumps up her game and Baldy gets down bad for her again. Sun Rong gets depressed as her seduction has failed her. Baldy's father comes in and gets sad at the pathetic state of his son. He slashes his computer, which enrages Baldy, and he transfers his spirit through the internet to the online hoe's room. It is revealed that the online hoe is an ugly demon in disguise that is harvesting spiritual energy. Wang comes into action, and he pulls Baldy through the internet when the ugly demon is trying to vacuum his spirit into a spiritual cam. Sun Rong's father is going through a financial crisis and is trying to get some spiritual energy from his friend, but the friend declines. He also gets a court summon, which worries Sun Rong. The group visits Sun Rong's family, and it turns out that after going bankrupt, they have reverted to the Stone Age, quite literally. However, they are confident that they will rise once again. Tang's family, on the other hand, is very happy about the Sun family's demise. It is revealed that they are involved in the Sun family's current situation by collaborating with a mysterious figure named Uncle Richmond, who manipulated stocks and caused the Sangun family's bankruptcy. Sun Rong, on the other hand, has a deep chat with Wang. Wang offers help, but Sun Rong declines, saying that she doesn't want to depend on someone else. This moves Wang, and he falls in love with her again. On their way back, the group comes across the news that the Sun family has agreed to sign off their spiritual land to the Tang family. Knowing that Sun Rong would agree to this, they decide to return to Sun Rong. They invade the signing ceremony in an attempt to stop this. Tang's goons stop them, but Baldy, Fatty, and Lin Xiaoyu tackle them with ease. Wang dashes to the ceremony so he can aid Sun Rong. Sun Rong is about to sign the agreement when Wang interrupts and takes her outside. However, she stops and tells them it's her own decision and she has decided to sacrifice herself to keep her company going. Wang is disappointed, but he finds the source of Sun family's bankruptcy, a demonic creature that has been sucking the spiritual energy of the Sun family. He destroys it, and with a surprising turn of events, the spiritual energy flows back to the Sun family, and their stocks rise again. Weird Curly Hair also arrives and freezes Tang's family assets as they collude with a demon. Sun's family has been revived, and Sun Rong gives Wang a smile of love. As a sword art competition is taking place, the host announces the judges, who are also include some weird dancing girls. Principal Kang acts suspiciously on seeing them, which annoys his girl. The host then announces the participants. First is Sun Rong, who is also observed by the mysterious Uncle Richmond. Sun Rong starts her sword dance. She controls a dozen swords with elegance when Uncle Richmond decides to meddle. He makes her lose control of the swords and points them towards a female judge. Principal Kang springs into action and saves the lady. Fatty got some riz, that's for sure. Sun Rong gets booed by the crowd, however she is assured by Wang that it was not her fault. The show's ratings soar through the sky and they begin to gather a large amount of spiritual energy. Next is the Fatty and Baldy duo, who have come on the stage to present a show. Fatty will attack with the sword and Baldy will attempt to catch it barehanded with a blindfold on. Uncle Richmond meddles and they fail, with the sword hitting Baldy's bald head. Next is a girl from Faction 59 and she performs an impressive show. Ratings are going at all-time highs with spiritual energy flowing in like crazy. Uncle Richmond is happy harvesting the spiritual energy. Lin Xiaoyu is next, and she starts her beautiful dance that captivates everyone. She makes a tree grow from scratch and then sets it on fire. However, she isn't able to extinguish the flames. Sun Rong comes into action and uses her sword dance, and they both finish their dance together. The viewer count reaches 1 billion, which makes Uncle Richmond come out of the shadows and he casts his magic, turning everyone seeing the show into his puppet. Why does this sound similar to my uncle, just in some different contexts? But it is revealed that our guy has cleverly ruined his plans. The host turns into a bodybuilder and punches Uncle Richmond into oblivion. However, it turns out that he has turned evil too and has made everyone into an evil puppet except Sun Rong, Wang, and Lin Xiaoyu. Zhang Liang tries to seduce a guard to secure the keys to her cage, however the guard sees through her sloppy seduction tactics and decides to be better than Baldy. But at that moment, all the guards fall under ultimate control, the technique that Uncle Richmond used to control everyone. Wang, Sun Rong, and Lin Xiaoyu are crawling around, so they are not spotted by a mind-controlled mob. One guy takes their picture and posts it on social media. All the people come after them and they escape after a small skirmish. Wang uses his sword to rise to the roof of a building with both the ladies on his shoulder. They think on how to undo the ultimate control technique, but nothing comes to their dumb minds. They suddenly notice that all the mind control zombies are trying to climb the building. Baldy, who is also under the spell, pulls out an ultimate move and reaches them in one dash. He confesses his love for Sun Rong, but she turns him down, serves him right for being a pathetic simp. However, this hurts him right in the feels and he is set free of the curse. Sun Rong screams that she doesn't like anyone, and all of the infected zombies return back to normal. They decide to live broadcast Sun Rong through a cell tower but find that Liang Jiaying is already there taunting them from afar. Not that they could listen to her from that distance. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a meteor strikes the cell tower, taking Zhang Liang's fat ass to the ground with it. Wang uses his freaky eye and sees that Uncle Richmond sent that meteor down. Sun Rong can't broadcast to the world now, but Wang has 2 tickets to the space station from where she can broadcast to the whole city. They get aboard the cute kiddo sword and reach the train station to get aboard the train to space station. Baldy pulls out a bold move and decides to stay back to cover them against the mind-infected zombies. Lin Xiaoyu stays back with him too. Wang and Sun Rong get aboard the train and start their journey to the space station. On their journey, Wang starts to say something, and Sun Rong gets horny thinking he might express his love for her, but he says that Baldy and Lin Xiaoyu could have also joined them as there was no one to check their tickets. They reach the space station and Sun Rong turns down the whole world with a boring speech and ultimately frees everyone from mind control. Uncle Richmond shapeshifts into a snake demon and is riding a meteor to Earth, attempting to destroy the world along with himself. But Wang throws his cute kiddo sword at it and smashes it and then enjoys a romantic moment with his girlfriend. Wang's class is visiting an animation studio, and the owner introduces them to the animation culture. He takes them to the offices, and we see the replica of Mappa Studio inside there. Employees are being overworked and they strive to meet the deadlines. Looks like something doesn't change even in a world of magic. The owner, Mr. Tang, introduces them to the producer, a cute chick, who tells him that the director has run away. The owner gets enraged, however quickly finds a solution and decides to make the elite class the director for the day. They all go to the key animation department where a key animator shows them how shit is done. Baldy ruins his hard work though and asks him to make 24 FPS animations. He uses his liver power to draw 24 FPS animation, but Baldy is still not satisfied and asks him to make it 60 FPS. The key animator loses it and jumps from the window. This sounds like I'm watching Kaizen Jumps In all over again. Wonder when we will get news of a Mappa employee falling down to his death from the Mappa building. Next is the photography department where a worker shows his talent with the help of a computer. However, Baldy drops some facts and says that his work is missing the soul that hand-drawn works have. This enrages the worker and he has to be held back by his co-workers. Next, they go to the art department where an old man is working on a computer to develop some scenes. Producer begs them to not make any comments as the old man is already on the verge of collapse. But Baldy and Fatty pull the power cord and send the old man's hard work down the drain. He instantly turns to sand with the shock. The producer breaks down as they have to complete the episode soon. Baldy offers his help like the simp he is, and they all start animating the keyframes. Their world around starts turning into simple drawings, however they complete the task with Wang's help. But the supervisor rejects their work. The world is on the verge of collapse as the episode is not completed when Wang crosses the 4th wall and brings back the director from the real world who was doing things to some dancing girl. The director takes back control and the world gets revived. Uncle Richmond is the subordinate of the Demon King, and he directed the meteor on the orders of the Demon King. However, after Wang destroys it along with him, Demon King is enraged and orders the space head guy to light the dimensional lamps. Wang and Sun Rong decide to enjoy some alone time on the space station, but suddenly they are turned 3-dimensional for some reason. Weird Curls guy has called an emergency meeting to subdue the demons entering the human world from the spatial crack that Wang made a while back. To close it, they need a massive amount of spiritual energy, and they can't connect with the world's known practitioner for some reason. Back on the space station, Wang and Sun Rong discover that they are caught in a loop. It is revealed that the demon's counselor has sealed them in that dimension so the demons can infiltrate the world easily. Demons have infiltrated the world, and some hero practitioners are fighting against them, but they are not having any victories. Sun Rong has given up hope like the weak she is. However, our guy Wang pulled some control panels of sorts and modified themselves to be of higher quality. I swear to gosh, I still can't figure out what this weird Chinese anime is all about. Anyway, an old great master pulls out a grand technique and defeats a large demon. But the Demon King sends a plethora of meteors towards the earth infested with dragons who start to ravage the world. Sun Rong is seeing the world get destroyed and loses all hope again. but Wang decides to overload the GPU using mirrors and particle effects. Counselor's 3060 is overloaded, and the dimensional seal is broken from Sun Rong and Wang. Wang makes a move towards the world through space and enters the battlefield like the boss he is, with boss music in the background. He is about to wreck all the demons when a butterfly girl appears out of nowhere and teleports him away with her. We get a flashback of young Lin Xiaoyu who is practicing with her dad. It is revealed that she came from a species of butterfly people whose world was conquered by the demons a long time ago, and her father sent her to the world where she was brought up by the sword spirit. She told her backstory to Wang, and now they are going to see the demon emperor. Back on Earth, everyone loses hope as Wang disappears without a trace. But they get a live broadcast from the space station from Sun Rong, who motivates them to fight with a long plot armor speech. Her speech has an effect and everyone on Earth picks up arms against the demons. On the demon home planet, Lin Xiaoyu brings Wang to the demon emperor and asks him to release her sword spirit sister as per the agreement. Demon Counselor attempts to make them fall on their knees, however fails to make Wang do so. He basically just pushes him on the side with a wave. This excites the Demon King, and he comes down to play. He asks Wang for his name and punches him, but Wang blocks it, saying get this BS out of here. Sun Rong is fighting from the space station when the cute little kiddo sword of Wang returns to her hands. Wang goes against the Demon Emperor and handles him like a little biatch. The Demon Emperor makes a run for it, but Wang catches up to him. They exchange multiple blows and attacks and circle around the demon world multiple times when Wang stops him with his tusks and throws him back to his castle. Demon Emperor begs him to stop, however his counselor mistakes the restraining figure on his neck to be his soft spot and removes it. Uncontrollable spiritual energy flows out and destroys the demon world instantly. All the demon dragons collapse on the ground and die, and humanity celebrates its victory. Wang and Lin Xiaoyu return back to the Earth, and Wang asks Lin Xiaoyu to call his dad to come up with a new spiritual sticker immediately, or he may destroy the Earth too. Curly weird-haired guy took the credit once again, and Sun Company prospered and Earth started going back to normal without knowing the true identity of their savior, who goes to sleep on the train to his school. Now Wang, excited to gobble down his noodles, but before he could even take the most exotic bite of it, a demon attacks and accidentally causes a rock to fall in his noodles, along with the whole area. But he honestly couldn't care less about the town, just his noodles. Since the demon world is now destroyed, many demons took refuge on Earth. Anyways, the demon was about to make minced meat of Wang, which any Chinese guy would love to devour, but a helicopter arrives and a girl takes down the demon with some missiles. Now Lin, who approaches her friend Guo, who looks like he needs to be put on a diet. They are just amazed that the school looks pretty normal as it was previously destroyed by the demons, just like how Layden took down the Twin Towers. Well, that is because Froggy uses his powers to repair the entire school. But that was bad news for Guo since he didn't even get his homework done. Later, Sun reaches the school in her Lambo, making an entrance Hannah Montana would have made back in the days. But her grand entrance is completely ruined by Yoshiko Kiyomiya as she lands in the school through her helicopter. Sun sure is affected but pays no attention and walks away with Wang. Later, Sun makes her entrance into the classroom and challenges Sun for the top girl title. Sounds like High School Musical. Later on, Yoshiko finds out that she is from the ordinary section. Hearing that, Yoshiko eliminates the person who made the mistake of sending her to the ordinary class. Her purpose is to take over the place since it has gotten pretty weak after the demon attack. So, Yoshiko takes the matter in her own hands and approaches Wang and Sun. She bribes Wang with some packets of noodles, and this man said sold. Then, Sun gets angry and Yoshiko challenges her with a cooking challenge. A while later, everything is set up for the challenge and the judge is Wang. The competition starts and Yoshiko gets to cooking super fast. But on the other hand, Sun can't cook anything and ends up burning the food. Yoshiko's food smells so good that everyone literally feels high on its aroma. But as soon as Wang takes a bite of it, Sun can tell that Wang didn't like it and goes on to serve what she brought. It was a packet of crispy noodles, and as soon as he eats it, the entire world around him gets light up. Seeing the scenery, Guo declares Sun as the winner of the competition, leaving Yoshiko burning with anger. When Froggy was a baby, his mother baked a cake for his birthday and he wished to be the Demon King when he grew up, so he will be able to protect everyone. These kids end up being Mojo Jojo instead of Powerpuff Girls because their father runs out to get some milk. Anyways, coming back to the present, Froggy is just happy that Wang remembers his birthday, which honestly sounds like a bare minimum relationship. The next day in the class, everyone is preparing for Froggy's birthday. Suddenly, Froggy shows up, but Lin and Sun take him outside to hide the surprise from him. I mean, the way he's excited clearly shows he knows about the surprise. Now it's time to get the birthday cake egg for Froggy, and Wang goes and gets it. Though he looks like some pink creature took a big mess on him and he needs to take a shower now. On the other hand, as Lin and Froggy were sitting on a bench waiting, Pan passed by them and says she's getting her phone she forgot in the refining room. Well, Froggy knows his surprise will be ruined if Pan goes there and runs there to get her phone. Pan reaches there too and Froggy changes himself into Master Zoo and tries to lure her in his conversation. Well, Pan really had her ovaries bursting seeing him and blushes. She asks if he wants to go on a movie with her while she secretly books the seats. To get rid of the situation, Froggy says yes. Poor Pan really thought her days of youth are back and goes away, giggling like a loser teenager. Later, Guo and Chen check on the egg which was on low flame and take it to the classroom. Suddenly, Froggy remembers the wise words of his mom, that if they don't put the egg on high flame, there could be a massive problem. On the other hand, the cake crawls out of the egg and jumps on Chen's face, getting a taste of that cake stuff. Cake-ussy. Anyways, the cake takes control over Chen and he throws it over everyone's face, and everyone gets controlled by the cake. But Wang arrives in time and kills all the cakes, including the biggest cake too. Froggy sees all that and gets sad that his birthday ended before it even started. So, he reverses the time, which makes him lose some time of his life, but it's better than being lonely. So, the time is now reversed back. Lin and Froggy enter the surprise birthday room. But they all wish Lin a very happy birthday and not Froggy. This entire time, poor Froggy thought he was important, but it was all being set up for Lin and not him. Middle child type of lore. On the other hand, Pan had been waiting for Master Zoo for the movies, who was actually Froggy. So, she calls Master Zoo to ask where he is only to know he is abroad and not here. This moment was a realization for Froggy that he is a dog and Pan is an old woman, so they should stop being that delulu. They all set to hike on the mountain behind Guo's home to collect some herbs. Meanwhile, Froggy guides them towards the location of herbs. Well, being haste leads to no good and he wasn't wrong about it. Shen steps on a piece of mess just because he wanted to wrap everything up quickly. Guo casually warns them about the beasts over her and suddenly, a monster shows up. As soon as they set their eyes on the monster, they begin to run, but Froggy gets trapped on the top of a tree through a trap set. Then, another monster shows up, which is usually found in volcanic areas. It begins to fight with the previous monster and kills it. Suddenly, a ball is thrown on the monster and the ball takes the monster in like a Pokemon, and it was Dang's ball.
You serious?
Yoshiko does the same thing and captures a small monster like a Pokemon. Coming back to Dang, he shows the others that this is a game where you can capture a monster and it'll become your pet. In other words, this is Amazon's version of Pokemon. Well, he even offers to send him the logging and stuff and 10 free lucky draws, but well, Guo for some reason bursts up like the Hiroshima bomb. He got super angry. Later, they free Froggy from the trap and Guo tells them the reason he got upset. It is because his family does this work and people really just leave these pets whenever they feel done of them. Isn't that something what most of the geeks to their Discord kid is too? But they do notice a lot of traps in the forest. Then, Froggy takes them to the unicorn, who was almost dead. So, they carry him and run to the clinic to quickly heal him. After a whole lot of efforts, Wang gives him a bite of his crispy noodles and of course, like all the commercials, the unicorn heals. They name him Sylvie because it was silver. Surely weren't so creative when it came down to naming. Suddenly, Dang shows up and challenges who takes Sylvie. They set up a bet if Dang wins, he will get Sylvie, but if Guo wins, Dang will never get to step on his family mountain again. So, for that, Dang releases his beast to fight and Guo and Chen urge Froggy to fight, but he won't budge. That is when Sylvie steps up. The match begins, but Sylvie, for now, is no match to Dang's beast. Suddenly, the noodles that Wang fed Sylvie get absorbed into Sylvie's DNA, and she undergoes a Winx Club fairy transformation. Well, that gives Sylvie a lot of power and can finally defend herself. Seeing that, Dang's beast begins to run away, being scared. Anyhow, Sylvie still attacks the beast and Dang and the beast fly away due to the intensity of the attack. With that done, the match is won. But before it wraps up, Dang really got what he deserved. He gets trapped in the trap he set and tries to grab his sword. His luck ended there because a small bunny not just takes his sword away, but a big beast bunny comes to him and all we can hear is Dang screaming as if he just got explored in some unspeakable parts. Licky, any good submissive guy, Yoshiko's bodyguard sits on his knees and tells her that her Beast Hunter Go app has more than 10 million downloads. That boosts Yoshiko's ego and she steps out of her helicopter. But no one really pays attention to her the same way your dad never gave you attention. The students are more interested in Sylvie rather than a girl, which probably should have been enough to drown in embarrassment. Then, Yoshiko checked the list of the most popular ones in the school and she was at the 4th most popular, which made her angry. Even her cooking skills couldn't lead her nowhere. On the other hand, Guo is telling everyone that he saved Sylvie from the mountains, but Sylvie still prefers Wang more than Guo. That explains the attachment of girls with playboys rather than an actual good man. Later, Froggy looks at Sylvie with the intentions of devouring her, but before he could have had the feast of his life, Wang comes to the rescue. Being caught red-handed, Froggy stutters his words. Then, Wang draws a circle around Sylvie of magic because he trusts no one with Sylvie. But Yoshiko didn't know about the magic circle and wanted some of her blood to become immortal. As soon as she steps in it, the magic circle bursts her away. The next day, the students are around Sylvie and a teacher objects at first, but his heart melts when he sees how adorable Sylvie is. Meanwhile, Yoshiko is plotting to grow Sylvie really big so she can get her blood without getting damaged once again. So, she feeds something to Sylvie and she grows up to be the size of your ex, I mean just too big. I can hardly tell the difference. Now, Sylvie, still being young, excretes her unicorns on the teacher and he gets angry. So, Guo takes her to the gym for her to stay there. As soon as they leave, of course, Yoshiko shows up. Yoshiko gives Sylvie an offer, but Sylvie eats up her stone and that panics Yoshiko. Meanwhile, Wang and Guo are going to see Sylvie and suddenly there is a weird beam of light and Sylvie becomes a giant monster and escapes to the streets. Guo tries to protect her, but Sylvie ends up making a beef meal out of him. All this while, Wang and Froggy observe this and seeing no other solution, Wang releases Froggy's seal and he grows into a huge beast. Now, a tough match starts between Sylvie and Froggy. Who will save the day? A cute-looking beast or an ugly-ass frog-looking beast? Well, most of y'all would rather vote for the pretty one due to your weird fantasies. But as soon as Sylvie is about to attack, Froggy opens up his mouth so her spiritual energy can be absorbed. After a while, Froggy coughs her out along with Guo and he gets taken to the hospital. Wang knows that Sylvie is not for this world and everyone will always consider her a wild beast. So, he opens up a portal and takes her there, saying that this is where she will always belong. Next up, it starts with a flashback of Wang's past. He is at a market with his father, captivated by a wooden sword at a shop. Meanwhile, the shopkeeper tries to con Wang's father, who almost has a heart attack upon hearing the price. Consequently, he grabs Wang's hand and leaves. Later, in another moment, the top 4 swordsmen of Huaxiu hold a sword contest. Guo briefs Chen and Wang about the fight and tells them about a mysterious swordsman dressed in white, who entered the fight with an aura which is more scary than your Discord mod. The white swordsman challenges them and defeats them in seconds, bending their swords and declaring them worthless before leaving. No way they thought of themselves as some kryptonite and got defeated by a lowly. However, Chen thinks Guo is exaggerating the way Guo's body exaggerates the fat. Meanwhile, their coach calls Wang and Chen for a sword duel. Chen wields a large sword, while Wang prepares with his wooden sword. During the fight, Wang's wooden sword becomes magnetic and bends Chen's sword. As a result, Chen reacts dramatically, mourning his bent sword. At the same time, Sun and Lin are practicing sword techniques when Sun's sword suddenly attack Wang. Fortunately, Wang's sword saves him, and their swords become attached. Chen tries to separate them but fails. Then, Yin suggests that Wang's sword has reached an awakening stage, making it aggressive and magnetic, particularly towards katanas of the opposite gender. Subsequently, Yin proposes they visit the sword's tomb, where her sister can help. Yin introduces everyone to her sister and Chen asks for help. Sister says that she can fix his sword, then Wang shows his sword to her. It is suddenly drawn to Yin's sister, causing Sun's sword to cry as if it had been dumped. After examining Wang's sword, Yin's sister confirms it is at the awakening stage with an unusually strong magnetic force. Soon after, Zhuo arrives with 2 comrades to fix his sword and mentions a white swordsman challenging people in the city, bending their swords with a powerful magnetic force. Zhuo then gets a call about the white swordsman's reappearance but cannot respond due to his bent sword. Consequently, Sun suggests they go instead. Zhu agrees. Meanwhile, the white swordsman is fighting black ninjas while Yoshiko observes them. After hearing of Zhu's arrival, the ninjas leave. Guo, Sun, and Lin make an attack and struggle against the white swordsman. Wang tries to help but his sword acts rebelliously. Yin's sister asks Wang's sword why it is being so clingy. She then manipulates it by saying she likes protector swords only, motivating Wang's sword to help as the sword is still a man with ego. Finally, Sun, who is about to faint, is saved by Wang. She warns him to be careful. The white swordsman attacks Yin's sister, but Wang's sword intervenes. Having a flashback upon seeing the swordsman, Wang recalls his childhood, buying the wooden sword without its sheath at a lower price. In the present, the white swordsman recognizes Wang, and he defeats her, causing them his sword to merge with the swordsman. In the end, Zhu manages the aftermath by spreading false news about the white swordsman being jailed. He states that now that the sheath is found, the magnetic field should disappear. Meanwhile, the sheath is given the task of fixing the swords as punishment, weeping like a baby. It starts with a hot white-headed guy, Lord Thunder, probably listening to some Japanese music, who tells Zhuo that he protected a certain item from being stolen. The thieves ended up stealing a bomb, which blew up the train. Later, Zhuo stays with Lord Thunder for the auction and wears the mask he gave him. Wang ends up losing a card game to a kid because his cards were very weak.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi. Ah! Impossible!
Later, the auction starts and the first item displayed is a book at a very high price and Juo is shocked. Then, Juo asks Thunder why he won't bid, to which Lord Thunder says that he is not much interested in such fights. Coming back to someone's noodle obsession, Wang buys 2 boxes. He opens one of them to find another weak card and gets sad. Meanwhile, red underpants, which are almost every attack proof, are being auctioned. Those actually belong to Wang, but his stupid dad ended up selling it. So, Yoshiko buys it. Then comes up the next item, which is sealed white dragon. The bid starts with 10 million spiritual coins and jumps to 87 million spiritual coins and Juo buys it, which leaves Lord Thunder shocked. Actually, Juo bought it for Wang, and hence he handed it over to him. Lord Thunder was pretty confident that Wang can't unseal it, but Wang literally breaks it as if it was a single mom's heart. As soon as it breaks, the dragon asks what Wang wants, but Wang cuts the dragon and makes him into a card. That leaves Juo and Lord Thunder shaken, and all Wang did this was just to win a stupid card game against young lads. It's a bright cloudy morning. Juo and Wang Ling are on their way to school. They walk through the main street when they see exorcists teasing each other. Juo expresses unlikeness for them when a bike crosses him at high speed and gets furious and scolds the biker. After a minute, he notices that the motorcycle is approaching his way. His fat ass starts panicking, thinking that the biker is also an exorcist and may hurt him the same way your ex-girlfriend hurt you, but he quickly calms down seeing that the biker is Chen. At school, everyone curiously looks at Chen's strange dress and gossips about it. Guo informs him, but Chen immediately denies it, saying that this uniform belongs to the exorcists. They kept arguing when Wang Ling told them that the principal was watching them furiously. Chen heads to the principal's office, where the principal scolds him. Sun also arrives at the principal's office, where Wang Ling and Guo are watching Chen. They inform Wrong Sun that Chen has joined the exorcists. Wrong Sun suggests informing Chen's father about it. Guo rejects her suggestion by warning her about the previous incident. They start executing their plan B. Sun passes through the exorcists, so they assault her, and Guo and Wang Ling record everything on their cameras. But unfortunately, they didn't succeed in their plan, as the exorcists treated her well. It's time to take a second turn. The exorcists are not helping the old lady, but their gaze is on her purse. In a minute, Chen arrives there and tries to help the lady. The exorcists stop Chen from saying that the lady is a monster. The exorcists, Sun and Guo, fight together to defeat the monster and succeed. The exorcist's good deeds, Sun and Guo apologize to Chen. Then the exorcist offers Sun and Guo to join them, but they don't invite Wang for some reason. Chen, Guo, and Sun get sad to know that, and they start imagining that Wang must be upset about it. They plead with the exorcists, so they also let Wang Ling join them, but the exorcists deny, saying that he is quite weak. At night, Chen comes to Wang to tell him his story of why and how he joined the exorcists. He also tries to motivate Wang. Then they both go to exorcists, so they accept Wang as their fellow. But as soon as they enter their home, they see that everything they saw earlier was a complete lie. The exorcists locked the door and tried to kill Chen because he saw too much and they bewitched him. Sounds very much like the American government. Wang takes everything in his hand and defeats all the monsters and the exorcists. But bewitched Chen comes to attack him. Wang Ling notices that Chen is not in his senses, so he reads some spells on him, and he gets better. After some time, Chen wakes up. He notices that everything is destroyed, and Wang is lying unconsciously on the ground. He wakes him up. Wang purposefully thanked Chen for saving his life because he didn't want anyone to know about his powers. In the morning, Jui visits the exorcist's house with his junior colleague, who role-plays as a property management worker and then a career boy to gain entry. But every time, he gets rejected the way you get rejected by almost all female species. Finally, Jui's patience limit is exceeded, and he bombs the door. As the door opens, they both get shocked to see so many monsters. The junior colleague becomes so terrified that he runs away. On the other hand, Wang Ling is passing through the street at the same time. He notices that the monsters are beating someone. So, he entered the house and defeated every monster and successfully saved the day like Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. After some minutes, the junior colleague arrives with other colleagues to help Jui but is shocked to see that Jui defeated all the monsters by himself. And that is how everyone starts considering Jui as the hero. After some days, the time for Jui's award ceremony arrives. He is backstage, getting ready to go on stage. After 10 seconds, he enters the stage, waving at the audience. Suddenly, his gaze went to Wang. He looks at him for some time, then takes his position at the rostrum. He starts telling about his journey at 7-Star Squad and how he started it. He also tells the story of a young boy whom he met on his first duty and how he saved him. As soon as he finishes his speech, everyone starts cheering for him. Suddenly, the light went off. When the lights come back, he sees that the video of Wang defeating the monsters is on all projectors. Jui is also shocked to see all this because Wang reads some spells on him, so he doesn't remember anything. Everyone starts calling Jui a scammer after this incident. He even gets suspended from his work. He then bids farewell to his colleagues and leaves the office. As he gets down, he notices that he left his car keys on the desk, so he goes back to get them. As soon as he opens the door, he sees that his colleagues are having a party because Jui will no longer disturb them. Seeing all this breaks Jui. He starts walking disappointedly in the rain. Suddenly, he notices a monster, so he follows him. Actually, it was a trap for him. The monsters start beating Jui in order to eliminate him because the main villain wants Jui to be eliminated so he won't interfere in her upcoming matters. Jui tried his best, but he was very injured. Suddenly, Wang Ling arrives. He defeated all the monsters and stepped forward to remove Jui's memory. But this time, Jui stops him and asks if he is the same person who defeated the Exorcist's monsters. Wang apologizes to Jui. Ju Ling then asks Wang why he showed him as a hero. Wang Ling tells him that the young boy whom Jui saved as a kid is Wang. That is why he is very thankful to him. Moreover, he is very sincere about his job. Wang then offers him 2 pills. One is blue and the second is red. Choosing a blue pill will make everyone forget about the last 2 days, while the red pill will help him achieve ascension. Jui chooses not to take any of the pills and decides to leave the country. In the meantime, Wang will teach Jui some fighting techniques. Chen and Guo are talking in the school while eating lunch together. They ask each other about who they are going to ask out for the festival. Chen tells his friend that he is thinking about asking out another friend, but she suddenly comes behind him and tells him that she is busy on the weekend. Guo tells him that he is thinking about talking to the newly transferred girl. He knows that she is alone and it's a good time to become friends with her and shoot his shot. Then, he starts making fun of Guo when he knows that his friend has a secret crush on a girl. He gets emotional and tells Chen that he should not wait because life is short and recommends that he should ask her out right away. Chen gets motivated. He sees his crush walking out of the corridor and goes after her. When he comes outside, he sees that his crush is already talking to someone else, shattering his heart. After that, he gets sad and goes near the bank of the river. He sees that his friend Guo also got rejected, so they hug each other and start laughing. And well, now they might even explore each other. I mean, they hugged already. At night, when the festival starts, Guo meets Wang and tells him that he looks beautiful. Sun gives a speech about the festival and she calls Wang at the VIP entrance. Meanwhile, Guo is waiting for Chen, but he is stuck in traffic. Wang meets Sun and she is blushing. She tells him that she is alone at home and her parents are outside of town. Sounds like an opportunity to bang. She invites him and he asks if she has crispy chips. Sun tells him that she has a lot of snacks and he accepts her invitation immediately. She gets happy and starts jumping, but when they reach her home, Sun sees that her grandfather is at home and asks what he's doing there. Well, now, Sun's grandfather at the dining table is curious about Wang. He asks him about his family and is shocked to know that he is just an ordinary man. Being the old geezer, he challenges Wang to a trial in which they have to prove their strength. Wang wins 2 phases of the trial easily and in a shocking way. Sun's grandfather challenges Wang to a fight. Suddenly, Wang pulls out the sacred cudgel which was passed down to the family of Sun. Its weight is 15,000 pounds and everyone bows in front of Wang and calls him God. Later, Wang and Sun listen to the paper lamp and the time to expose the Sun's sacred cudgel comes. The pool floor opens and the weapon room is exposed, but everyone gets shocked because the sacred cudgel isn't at its place. Sun's grandfather gets suspicious of Wang because he is the only person to lift it at that time. One day before the robbery of Sun's sacred cudgel, Yoshiko wakes up and freshens up. The news about the Sun family festival is all over the news. She gets irritated because it's just an ordinary festival at Sunland, but it's getting a lot of hype. Yoshiko feels a strange presence and goes to the balcony. She sees her father in the form of a crow and she bends her knee. Her father tells her about the Sun festival and gives her the task to steal the Sun's sacred cudgel. He tells her that last time she failed to complete her mission and warns her not to bring shame to their name again. Yoshiko knows that her weekend is ruined and she has no other choice but to follow her father's order. She changes her clothes and gets ready to join the festival. At night, she goes to Sunland, but the guard stops her and asks for her partner. It's a couple festival, so single people aren't allowed inside. Yoshiko sees Zaiyu, Chen, and Guo. She chooses Zioyu and asks her to become her partner. Zioyu is waiting for her uncle Sun and Yoshiko pretends that she is also waiting for him. It's a good chance for her because she can get direct access to the castle. So, Yoshiko agrees to work with Zioyu without even knowing what she has to do. When Uncle Sun comes, Zioyu introduces her to him and tells him that she is his partner. Uncle Sun brings both of them to the kitchen and Zioyu tells Yoshiko to help her, assigning women to do the tasks which they are born to do. Amazing. Yoshiko chooses to serve drinks so that she can go outside and steal the cudgel. Well, she has to serve more than 100 drinks to the guests and it's tough for her. But, to make things more twisty, Yoshiko meets Lord Thunder and he starts flirting with her and she is getting late. She has to hurry and she chooses to run away. She sees Zioyu coming toward her and she throws all the glasses to distract Lord Thunder. Yoshiko goes back with Zioyu and she tells her to go ahead. After that she goes to the castle and Sun Rong's grandfather is getting ready to fight with Wang Ling. After they all go outside of the Sun Arsenal, Yoshiko sees everything. She notices that Wang Ling already pulled the Sun's sacred cudgel and he makes her work easy. Yoshiko has to take the cudgel and leave as soon as possible, but she hears someone coming from the other side and she suspects that it's the security. The security guard in the kitchen also keeps an eye on all of them and Yoshiko knows that if she doesn't go back fast, the guard might come inside and search for her. Yoshiko enters the Sun Arsenal room and she gets amazed after she sees Sun's sacred cudgel. She picks the cudgel and goes away secretly. Continuing from the Sun family arsenal, where the sacred cudgel has been stolen. Soldiers are on the scene, searching for clues. An old monkey like Grandpa is begging Wang to return the cudgel, while Sun feels embarrassed to be related to him. Suddenly, Lord Thunder arrives, though he doesn't live up to his name. He defends Wang, saying Wang was with Sun all day. Although Wang could lift the cudgel, he is not the thief. Thunder suggests the cudgel might have changed its shape and become smaller, still in the same space. However, he feels embarrassed when he doesn't find it there. Wang points out the CCTV and suggests checking it. Both old men are surprised they didn't think of that. After reviewing the CCTV footage, they discover that Yoshiko is the thief. Yoshiko is performing a ritual when her phone rings. It's Sun calling. She ignores the first call but answers the second. Sun angrily tells her to leave her house, prompting Yoshiko to throw the phone into hot lava. Guo reassures Sun, saying he has a better plan to get Yoshiko out. He uses his inner Jigglypuff, causing Yoshiko to finally leave. Sun confronts her immediately, but Yoshiko denies stealing the sacred cudgel. Sun shows her the CCTV video, to which Yoshiko admits she went to the basement to check something but insists she didn't steal the cudgel. Jinx senses energy from the back hill of the cudgel. As they are about to leave, Yoshiko orders her guards to attack them. Wang chases Yoshiko, who remains stubborn. She summons monsters from a magic scroll to attack Wang, but he defeats them all. When he pierces the scroll, dark energy emerges, pulling both Yoshiko and Wang into a void filled with skeletons. A giant insect is about to devour Wang when Zhu jumps in and saves him, and Yoshiko is shocked to see Zhu alive. Zhu explains that during his research on the Exorcist team, he discovered they were abducting demons and keeping them in a volcano. He tried to sneak in, but Yoshiko dismissed him into the cave. Zhu reveals the demons are fighting each other to become the Demon King. Yoshiko explains their plans failed due to a force field, so she tried to steal the sacred cudgel to stabilize it but couldn't lift it. Wang is about to break the seal when Yoshiko warns it will destroy the city. Suddenly, the force field breaks, releasing all the demons into the city, where they start attacking humans. It is then revealed that Froggy stole the cudgel. From a memory, Zhu chases some demons and hears a demon's scream. A crybaby demon hides from Zhu behind a trash bin. Froggy appears, and Zhu asks for help locating the demon, but Froggy gives the wrong direction. The crybaby asks Froggy to be the Demon King in return for help, but Froggy refuses, saying he has blended too well with humans and has little memory of his demon life. Here, Froggy sees Wang's birthday surprise plan fail, so he reverses time to let Wang try again. However, he finds out the surprise is actually for Ugly Lin, not him. Consequently, in the present, Froggy feels depressed and conflicted between his human and demon sides. A demon notices Froggy's distress and takes him to the other demons. They consider Froggy their Demon King. Therefore, Froggy convinces them that humans don't care about them, so they should fight for themselves and take over human land and destroy humankind. Additionally, we learn Froggy disguised himself as Lin to steal the cudgel. Froggy promises the demons a world where the demons won't be hurt again. In the cave, Froggy destroys the force field, unleashing the demons on Sunland, and declares himself the Demon King. Wang asks what Froggy is holding in his mouth, and nervously Froggy drops the cudgel. Consequently, Wang realizes Froggy has been planning. Soon the other demons arrive. They want Froggy's help to attack humans, but the demons decide to devour Wang first. Froggy tells them to back off, claiming Wang is a dangerous human as he is aware of Wang's crisp, breezy abilities. Froggy proposes they settle it verbally by asking Wang 3 questions. If Wang answers correctly, the demons will surrender. If not, Wang must leave. The demons are confused as to why their king is acting like a princess. Wang agrees. First, Froggy asks an arithmetic question, thinking Wang can't answer as he always slept like a beauty in classes, but Wang surprises him by getting it right. The second question is about calculating planetary mass. Wang uses magic to pull the planets closer, but Froggy stops him as Wang could destroy the whole world like that, accepting the answer as correct. For the final question, Froggy asks Wang for his birthday. When Wang doesn't remember, Froggy rants about how Wang never cared about him. Disappointed, Froggy takes his Demon King form. But Wang crisp breezy him even in this form. Consequently, Froggy reverses time, planning to defeat Baby Wang instead, but Baby Wang still has that crisp breezy energy. Realizing time manipulation is useless, Froggy decides to seal Wang and puts him in his mouth. Wang wakes up in a dark room, goes outside, and sees Froggy crying. Wang hugs him to calm him down and takes him back to their time, saying everyone is waiting for them. Defeated, Froggy agrees to 2 conditions, one being to let the other demons stay alive, and the second condition was that he shall still be Wang's dog. For the first, Wang creates a portal to a new world for the demons. Froggy feels dumb for not asking for Wang's help sooner. Wang apologizes to Froggy, saying he owes this to Froggy. Meanwhile, Yoshiko thanks Zhu for saving her family. Chen and Guo find Sunland fascinating. Sun runs to Wang, happy to see the cudgel. Wang hands it to her, and she almost trips from its weight, but Wang catches her. That concludes the anime recap of Immortal Kin. If you'd like me to continue this series, let me know down below and make sure you are subscribed. I'm out.